Once upon a time, in the ancient city of Athens, there lived a young man named Alexander. Alexander was a skilled and ambitious warrior, who dreamed of becoming the greatest fighter in all of Greece. He spent most of his days training in fighting, seeking to prove his worth and earn the respect of his peers. Despite his many victories in battle, Alexander often struggled with controlling his temper and his desires. He was prone to outbursts of anger and often indulged in excessive drinking and eating. He believed that as long as he was winning and achieving his goals, his behavior did not matter. One day, Alexander was approached by a wise old man named Socrates, who was known throughout the city for his wisdom and insight. Socrates saw something special in Alexander and offered to be his mentor, teaching him the ways of philosophy and helping him to develop self-control. At first, Alexander was skeptical. He saw philosophy as a waste of time and believed that his strength and skill were all he needed to succeed. But Socrates persisted, inviting Alexander to join him in daily discussions and debates about the nature of reality, the meaning of life, and the importance of self-control. Over time, Alexander began to see the value in Socrates' teachings. He realized that his desires and passions were leading him down a dangerous path and that he needed to learn to control his impulses in order to achieve his true potential. Socrates taught Alexander that self-control is not about denying oneself pleasure, but rather about finding balance and moderation in all things. He showed him that true strength comes not from physical power, but from the ability to control one's thoughts and actions. Alexander began to practice the lessons he learned from Socrates. He took up meditation and reflection, learning to quiet his mind and focus on his goals. He learned to be more patient and tolerant of others, seeing their weaknesses and strengths with greater clarity. As Alexander's self-control grew, so did his respect for Socrates. He began to see him as a true friend and mentor, someone who had helped him to see beyond his own limitations and become a better person. One day, Alexander was faced with a great challenge. He was pitted against a fierce opponent in a battle that would determine the fate of his city. As he prepared for the fight, he felt a surge of anger and fear rising within him. But he remembered the lessons he had learned from Socrates and took a deep breath, calming his mind and focusing on his goal. In the end, Alexander emerged victorious, not only because of his physical strength, but because of his newfound self-control. He knew that he owed his victory to Socrates and the lessons he had taught him. From that day forward, Alexander became a devoted disciple of Socrates, spreading his teachings throughout the city and beyond. He came to understand that self-control is not just a personal virtue, but a foundation for a just and thriving society. And so, Alexander lived out the rest of his days as a wise and respected leader, always remembering the lessons he had learned from Socrates and the importance of self-control.